Okay, we are live on Facebook and also the recording has started. Welcome to the 8th session of Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam with technology interludes for ages 8 and up. So in the last class, we covered answers to a few questions that Yudhishtira asked, right? So one of which was this, and I think we covered both two slokas last time. So Bheeshma's reply to question number 3, Stuvantam kam prapnuyar manava shubham. So this is the answer that Bheeshma gives to that question. And so basically what Yudhishtira asked was, by glorifying whom can man reach the auspiciousness, peace and prosperity? So Bheeshma says that it's of course Lord Vishnu's 1,000 names.
Vishnu Sahasranamam.
There is a Vishnu Sahasranamam. And then he also answers another question. That's question number 4 that Yudhishtira asks Bheeshma, and that is by worshipping whom can a man reach auspiciousness? So this is the answer that Bheeshma gives to Yudhishtira. So in today's class, actually we can repeat the slokas. Bheeshma vacha Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam Anantam Purushottamam Stuvan Sahasrena Purusha Satatotitaha tameva cārcayan nityaṁ bhaktya purusham avyayam dhyayan stuvannamasyancha yajamanas cha. So these were the 2 slokas that we covered last class, and these are the replies that Bheeshma gives to Yudhishtira. So in today's class, Bheeshma answers the 5th question. Ko dharma sarva-dharmaanaam Bhavatah paramo matah. What, ko means what, is, in your opinion, the greatest dharma? That is the question. And the other question that Bheeshma answers is in these 2 slokas. We'll cover 2 or actually 3 slokas today. So the next question that Bheeshma answers is, Kim japam muchyate jantur Janma-samsaara-bandhaaat. By doing japa of what or who can creatures go beyond the bonds? Bandhanaath means bonds of samsara. So those are the 2 questions that Bheeshma answers in these 2 slokas. So let us first read in Sanskrit. Anādi nidhanaṁ viṣṇuṁ sarva-loka maheshwaram lokādhyakṣam stuvan nityaṁ sarva-dukkātigo bhavet. So what is anādi?
Eternal or happiness?
Yeah. Anādi is adi is beginning. Anādi is like no beginning. Yeah, like you said, eternal. Anādi nidhanaṁ. Nidhanam means end. Nidhanam is actually death or end. So neither there is beginning nor there is end. Anādi nidhanam viṣṇuṁ, Lord Vishnu. Sarva-loka means sarva is all lokas. Yeah, all worlds. Maheshwaram means the Lord. Maha-Ishvara. Ishvara is Lord. So Maha-Ishvara is the greatest Lord of all lokas.
But don't we call Maheshwara as Lord Shiva?
See, Lord Shiva, that's a good question. Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, they are all in one way the same, right? There are different ways of representation of God. See, the names are quite similar, right? Hari and Hara both mean the same. Hara is for Vishnu, Hari is for Vishnu, Hara is for Shiva. So same thing with Ishvara. So, so this is the principle of Advaita. We talked in Bhagavad Gita class, right?
Yeah,
Advaita
all
Amrita
thoughts are
Varshini.
Bhagavad
So this is the principle of Advaita. Dvaita means second. Advaita means there's no second. There's only one God. So that is the principle of Advaita. So both Shiva and Vishnu, they are referred to by same names. If you look at the 1,000 names of Shiva and the 1,000 names of Vishnu, there are quite a few names which are repeated in both the Sahasranamas. So these the two gods, Vishnu and Shiva, are different ways of worshipping God, different approaches. So Ishwaram, Loka Adhyaksham. Loka, you know, is the world. Adhyaksha means the leader. Stuvan means praising. Nityaṁ means always. And
Sarva is also always.
sarva means all. Dukkha.
Bad.
Dukkha is sorrow.
Sins.
Sorrow. Sarva dukkha. Sarva dukkhati go bhavet. Sarva, I'm not able to read you. Okay. Sarva dukkhati go bhavet means sarva dukkha we know, all sorrows. Gacchati means go, right?
Yeah.
So go, gacchati means they go away. Bhavet means it's like B form, it's a B form. They will go away like that. So it means.
Oh, bhavet, like how bhavati means
Yeah,
to be here.
that's right. Bhavati, bhavet. Yeah. So the English meaning is the greatest dharma is the one Vishnu who has neither a beginning nor an end, nidhanaṁ. The Supreme Lord, Maheshwaram, of all worlds. All creatures can go beyond the bonds of samsara, and he goes beyond all sorrows. And the person goes beyond all sorrows who daily or constantly chants the Sahasranamam and within glorifies the witness of the world. Actually, Loka Adhyaksha could mean both. Adhyaksha. So what is Adhyaksha? What is Aksha? Do you remember?
And Akshara is a letter. Does A stand for not here? Because in like
Yeah, you can think of
it's
A means like not. So what does Aksha mean?
The beginning or like the base.
You're right. Aksha. We talked about this in one of the previous sessions as well. May not be in Vishnu Sahasranamam, but maybe in Bhagavad Gita. Aksha means eyes. There's no decay. Ksha means decay or ruin. Aksha means there's no ruin. Usually there's no ruin to vision, right? Unfortunately, because of misuse, we are losing vision. People are losing vision, but otherwise, Aksha, the eyes, the vision is always there. So, without any decay. So, Aksha means eyes or vision. So, Adhyaksha means somebody who is watching the world. Loka Adhyaksha. So Loka Adhyaksha means somebody, Loka is world, and Adhyaksha means somebody who is watching with his eyes all the time. Adhyaksha is leader, but a leader is someone who is always constantly watching his people. So that's why it's called Adhyaksha. So in this case, the literal meaning of Adhyaksha is given as the witness of the world. So Loka Adhyaksha means the witness of the world. He is the leader. In that sense, he is a leader. He is constantly watching. A leader has to watch his people constantly, right? to get the pulse of his people, how they are doing, and how they should improve, how their lives should be improved. To know all that, a leader should be constantly watching. So that is the reason why in Sanskrit, a leader is called Lokadhyaksha, somebody who is Adhyaksha rather. The leader is called Adhyaksha, somebody who is constantly watching. So that is a sloka. In English, anādi nidhanaṁ viṣṇuṁ sarva-loka maheshwaram lokadhyaksham stuvan nityaṁ sarva-dukkhatigho bhavet. So the God we call Vishnu has no beginning, no end. He is without a form. He is timeless, right? Anādi nidhana means there's no beginning, no end. Like you said, sanatana. Sanatana means eternal.
Yeah.
And eternal means there's no time. There's no time dimension to him, right? So God does not have form and he does not obey time. I mean, there's no change with time, right? So it is somewhat how do I put it, a paradox that we have a form, right? We are so obsessed with this form. We are people spend hours. I know a person who spends an hour every day doing makeup.
Yeah.
Right? So people are so obsessed with form. You go to, see, there are so many cloth shops. The clothiers' businesses are flourishing from times eternal, from many years back, thousands of years back. Also, the clothiers were flourishing, and even now, cloth business or clothing business is such a flourishing business because we are so obsessed with form. But interestingly, God does not have a form. And he is formless in the forms, right? We have a form and is inside us. And is formless. The formless is within a form, right? And he is the permanent in the transient. We are all transient, right? You and I, we are not going to stay forever in this world. We are bound to disappear at some point of time. So we are transient. Transient means we move on. But God does not move on, right? He is permanent, right? So he is the permanent in the transient and the formless in the form. We have a form. God does not have a form, but he's inside us. And he is, we are transient and he is permanent and he is inside us. See what a paradox, right? Form, see, what is the cause for all the sorrow? It's the form,
Karma.
right? It's the form. And why do you have karma? It's because of your form, because of this body, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, so anything that is tangible is making you unhappy, right?
What does tangible mean?
Tangible means something that can be sensed, that can be perceived. God is intangible, right? You
So
cannot
something
perceive.
that's material.
Yeah, something that is material. So anything that is material is causing you to be unhappy. You're not allowed to watch TV, you become unhappy. And somebody asks you to do something, you are unhappy because that's not what you want to do, right? So it is all because of the form that we associate with. We are so much obsessed with this body that we are in. And God does not even have a form. So the body causes us pain, and the formless, the bodiless God gives us bliss. You practice meditation, prayer, and service, which are formless. Is there a form for meditation? Is it tangible? Is it material?
It's an idea.
It's just an idea. It's just so conceptual. And the formless meditation makes you happy. See, one of the ways to get a sound sleep, we require satisfaction. The most important ingredient for a successful sleep is satisfaction.
Really?
Yeah. You feel satisfied, you do something really very satisfying, you get a deep sleep that day. Try it and see. Many people are not able to fall asleep because they are unsatisfied in their hearts. It is not just the external influence, it's the internal. And the satisfaction is something very internal to you. It is not external, right? Without doing anything also you can be satisfied. And how is that possible?
Just be content with what you have.
Yeah, and then meditation. Meditation is a way of becoming satisfied deeply, very deeply. You will not feel restless, you will not feel unhappy if you meditate. But you have to practice. You just meditate for 10 minutes and then, oh, I'm not unhappy, I'm not happy anymore, meditation is not helping. That's not the way good things work. Good things take a lot of time. Yoga, for instance. One yoga pose that I tried, for 1 year or more than 1 year, I was uncomfortable doing it. It took me more than a year to get used to that pose. Right? Now I don't feel any pain, any difference. I always used to think, will I ever be able to feel normal after doing this yoga? Like some others do it, right? Like gymnasts. They do lots of weird poses, right? They bend and twist and do all sorts of things. And I was not able to do this small pose. So I used to think, will I ever be able to become normal? See, it took me 1.5 years. So all good things take a lot of time. See, some students are really good at learning, and some students are not good. They cannot even focus. They keep looking here and there, and they are not able to focus. Why? Because through the lives, these kids who are able to focus and learn, they practiced through the lives, many lives.
But how do they start? Like once you get
motivated.
How did they start?
See, like Valmiki, you know, right?
He was a saint. I mean,
he was a thief. So he became good again. It just triggers, right? So it's all. There should be a start. I mean, you should start. It's never too late to start something good. नेक काम करने के लिए देरी क्यों? Actually, yeah, that's a different saying. It means do a good thing right away, kind of thing. But yeah, there's never a bad time to start anything good. So you have to practice.
Like the present.
Yeah, you have to practice. That's how you become good. So meditation also takes a lot of time. In one day or in one sitting, you are not going to enjoy the happiness. You're not going to obtain the happiness and satisfaction. You have to constantly practice. And then it will fill you with satisfaction. You will go to sleep very solidly. You try that. The only main ingredient for sleep is satisfaction. So what does satisfaction mean? When you're satisfied, what happens?
Well, you feel content and happy.
Right. And when you're contented and happy, what happens to your mind?
It relaxes.
It relaxes, and then
it functions better too.
It does not wander, right? It does not go here and there looking for things. When you're contented,
you don't need to look for anything.
You don't need to look for anything else, right? So that is the idea of meditation. Meditation is basically making sure that your mind doesn't wander here and there. and it doesn't stop wandering all of a sudden, right? Doesn't stop like that. You have to practice every day, every minute, every second. Whatever you do, you meditate.
But how do you know if it's helping?
You can see the quality of sleep that you get, the quality of life you enjoy. So there's a saying, I don't want to, because that's a kind of a adult word, I don't want to use it, but in Sanskrit there's a saying. So it roughly translates to meditation or spirituality is 1,000 times the most enjoyment that people think is there in human life. So there's something for every human that is most enjoyable, right? So spirituality is 1,000 times that enjoyment. So spirituality includes meditation, prayer, service, all these things. Service to mankind is also one kind of spirituality. See, Mother Teresa is known for her service. She's not known for her devotion, right? Of course, she was devoted, but she was devoted to the children of God, not directly God. There are many people like that who are who gained satisfaction, who practice spirituality through service, not necessarily prayer, not necessarily meditation. Service, I think, is the highest form of meditation, but service is hard. It's actually harder than meditation, because when you do service, there's a lot of politics involved. Sometimes the other person does not understand. See, like I used to volunteer a lot for many things. Main reason is service, but people used to ask me, I mean, they used to indirectly say, why are people so crazy about service? So, of course, service has, that is the reason being, service has been misused. So all these politicians, they come to public service, supposedly for service, but what do they start doing once they get into politics?
Advertising
themselves, trying to gain money. In most countries, they come to public service to make money through bribery, corruption, and all that stuff, right? So the service component has it's no longer it no longer enjoys the original meaning of service. It has been misused. It has been given a wrong meaning altogether. So, but service is in its purest form, like Mother Teresa's service, is one kind of probably the best spirituality that you can practice. The other kind of spirituality is the next best spirituality, in my opinion, is meditation. And then comes prayers, rituals and prayers.
Yeah. Isn't service the most material? Like,
yeah, that is, see, in my Bhagavad Gita also Lord Krishna says, right? Karmani, he tells you that karma is better than sannyasa, right? So karma is always superior. That's what Lord Krishna confirmed too. So service is the best form of spirituality. Yeah, then comes meditation, and the easier thing is rituals, prayers. That's also spirituality, but
it's a start.
It's just a start. You're right, exactly. So that is like a gateway to deeper concepts of spirituality.
So is like this satsang right now our gateway into deeper spirituality too?
Yeah, this is just a roadway to deeper spirituality. Knowledge. See, Bhagavad Gita, we have all these adhyayas, right? Knowledge adhyaya, sannyasa adhyaya, karma adhyaya, karma chapter, karma sannyasa yogas. I mean, in Bhagavad Gita, they are called yogas rather than chapters. But because it's a yoga shastra, Bhagavad Gita is a yoga shastra, right? So, meditation is a powerful way of gaining satisfaction. Service is the next way, and then prayer and accomplishments, all these things come later. So all these are formless. Service is formless. There's no form to the service. And for me, service is very satisfying. Sometimes when I do something really that that people appreciate, or I mean not appreciate, but I feel that people have gained from, I feel a lot satisfied.
But how is service formless? I mean, most of the time it does involve a form.
It is intangible, right? You cannot feel, you cannot perceive service.
What kind of service would that include? Like the kind Mother Teresa did, helping sick and wounded patients and stuff?
Yeah. So that is one way. And then teaching is also a service. Spreading goodness is another service. And helping others is another service. All these are services which are formless. There's no form. You cannot say the service is in the shape of S, right? There's no form to service, right? So the formless meditation, the formless service, the rituals are somewhat, they have a form, right? You ring a bell, then you do arati. All that has some form, some perception is going on there. So they are not, that is the reason why you don't get as much spirituality, as much satisfaction in prayers and rituals as in the formless kind of spirituality, meditation, service, and all that.
Are the formless type of spirituality like abstract nouns? Like nouns are abstract?
Yeah, they're abstract. That's right. So that is form and formless. So the form causes us sorrow, and the formless causes us joy. It's called Sahasrarati. I will not explain the meaning, but spirituality is 1,000 times. Sahasra, is 1,000. So spirituality is 1,000 times the best enjoyment that you can get from life, material life. So that is about spirituality. And that is about form and formless. And now transient things also cause you pain, right? See, money is fleeting, right? Money is not going to stay forever. You might earn $1,000 today, and you will very carefully lock it up in whatever, what do you call that? Firewall or something. Huh?
Deposit box?
Yeah, deposit box or firewall or fire safe or something like that, right? So you lock $1,000 today in a fire safe, and after 30 years you open it. What is the value of the money there?
More or less. Like $10.
Right, exactly. With $1,000, you cannot buy what you could have purchased 30 years back with $10. Right? So you might think that you are saving money, but what is happening? The money is fleeting still, and that causes you grief. You think, oh, I have $1,000, I can retire happily, I can stop working. And then when you stop working and you look at $1,000, you're filled with sorrow. You think, oh my God, how am I going to live the remaining 20 years or 30 years of my retirement? Right? So it causes you pain, fleeting money. And a lot of causes for your problems, or a lot of causes for your grief are also fleeting, right? Like money. You go for a job, and the job sometimes doesn't make you happy. Your boss scolds you and all that stuff. The boss keeps on causing you dissatisfaction. He says your performance is very poor, or may not be very poor, but he might not give the same kind of praise that you're expecting. That will cause you dissatisfaction, right? So why? It is because you have to work for money, and money is transient. So all these transient things, money, even for that matter, health is transient, right? Today, you're small children, you're full of health and energy and happiness. But health is also fleeting. Health is disappearing. 40 years, 30 years, people start developing problems. Why? Because of the environment. Some are able to keep fit, but some are not able to keep fit. They're giving up to the environment, right? So fleeting money, fleeting health, fleeting age, right? The youth, not age, rather youth. Fleeting money, fleeting health, fleeting youth, and transient people also cause you grief. You love your parents so much, and after some time they pass away, right? You'll no longer be able to see them. You'll not, the next day, you just try to say good night, mommy, daddy. Mommy, daddy, nowhere in this house, right? They're gone, right? So fleeting, everything is fleeting, and that is what is causing you pain. All the attachments, all the things, they cause you pain. They cause us grief. But things which are permanent, like God, you think only about God, it's like spirituality, sahasrarati. They cause you happiness, bliss. And similarly, things which last longer, for instance, the sky, the ocean, the nature, they cause you happiness. Why do people go hiking? Why do people go to beaches? Why do people go to nature? To make themselves happy, right? Because nature is something that makes you happy, and nature is more permanent than these transient things like age, like people, like things like that. So that is the thing. We should always focus, we should spend more time on things which are permanent, things which are formless, things which are intangible. So to free up from the effects of form and transience, we need to constantly meditate upon the formless and the permanent. Right? That is the whole concept of Hari or Hara. Hari and Hara, the names, help you to free you from the effects of the form and the fleeting things.
But
Hari means reduce. Harna in Hindi means
To
losing.
burn your sins.
Yeah. Right? So, can you turn on the light? So, so we need to meditate upon the formless and the permanent things. The more we do that, the better we are in our lives. We need to associate only with the God through constant meditation. Right? How can you associate with the permanent and the formless? By meditating upon Him. And that's what this sloka is telling. The greatest duty is
Lord Vishnu.
Lord Vishnu. Our duty is towards Lord Vishnu. And this God neither has end nor beginning. And we have to meditate upon Him as the supreme Lord of all the worlds. Right? you cannot find fault. That means you cannot find fault with your leader. If you find a fault with your leader, what happens?
You get kicked out of the
Exactly. That's right. You should never find fault with your leader. If required, you have to move on. If the leader is really bad, then you move on or you do something else. But finding fault is bad. So just like that, you cannot find fault with God. You have to meditate upon him. For instance, some people think, God, please help me. God, you did not help me. I wanted to get first honor roll and you did not help me get honor roll. That stupid girl called XYZ, she won the honor roll. She doesn't know anything. You cannot do that. Right? Many people do that. You have to meditate upon him as the Supreme Lord who cannot be faulted. So by doing this, all creatures, not just highly bestowed people like you and me who are living in this United States with the four under in between four walls and all that stuff, right? They are homeless people. They can also gain this. They can also be free from this samsara. In fact, in Jataka tales, we know that even animals have thinking, right? From Jataka tales. So even animals can probably do the same, but it is harder for them because they are more affected by the instincts from their body, animal instincts, right? See, you try to go near a person and try to slap him. The person may not slap you back.
That's a good-natured person.
But you do the same thing to a dog, what will the dog do?
Bark at you and bite you.
Bark and bite. Because it cannot control animal instincts, right? So it is difficult. It is not impossible, but it is difficult for animals to do these things. But they can also do it. Plants also can do it, right? What is that? What is the scientist name? The Indian scientist who discovered that plants have life and they have feelings. I forgot the name. Jagdish Bose or something. Yeah. Anyway.
The guy who wouldn't eat plants.
No.
Because they have life.
No, he proved that. Anyway, I will not spend time on that. But yeah. So it's not any form, any creation can do it, but it is human life. Human form is the best form for doing this. Other forms are capable, but may not be that capable. See, the stones, maybe they are also capable. In one of the previous sessions, we discovered, the Vedas tell that everything has life. God is there in everything, including stones, right? So maybe stones are also capable of meditation and all that, but maybe it is very difficult for them to meditate, right? Human life is so much better. So we need to associate only with God and not with this material world. And that can happen only through constant meditation. Get a chance, meditate. So you're waiting for something, meditate. You're walking to the other room, meditate. You are, folding your clothes, meditate.
You meditate upon folding clothes?
Meditate upon God.
That just distracts me when I try it.
You try. See, yeah, that's right. Some people have a difficulty multitasking. But if you want to be successful in life, you have to multitask. That is very important. And this is the best way to practice. Meditation is the easiest multitasking.
But isn't the goal of meditation to bring all your focus?
As much of focus as possible. As much as focus. So if you're just lying on the bed, doing nothing, then bring all your focus there. Your hands, your legs, everything focused into meditation. But see, that's the idea, right? See, some people have scared people away from spirituality. They said, you are not putting all your efforts into God. God is going to curse you. So what will happen if you say that? You wash toilets. You are not fit to pray to the God because God is the highest form. You are not fit. What will happen to that? What will happen to the person?
The person, it doesn't matter whether it's dharma.
Sarva-kala sarva-avastha. You can pray to God in all time, at all times, and in all situations. So even, but the thought should be pure, not your actions. Maybe you're cleaning stuff. The action is not all that clean, right? Because you'll accumulate some dust, or when you're blowing, or when you're vacuuming, for instance. So it's not a very great job, but still you can meditate upon God, right? So people in the past have scared others by saying that, hey, for your living, you clean toilets, so you're not fit to pray to the God. You're not fit to come into the temples. And to some others, they said, you do clay pots. That's not a noble profession. So you're not fit to pray to the God. You're not fit to come to the temples. So things like you stitch slippers. So you're not fit to go. So that's all. Because of such things, people got dissuaded from spirituality. They thought, oh man, this looks like very tough. And the other thing is, it is true. I mean, do your best, but God does not discourage you from meditating upon Him in other circumstances. Do your best, but you don't have to be at your best all the time you pray to God. But the thought about the God must be the best. You cannot think when you're vacuuming the home, you cannot think, you cannot pray to the God and say, oh man, so much dust, Om Sri Rama, Sri Ram. Oh God, this is so much dust here. Oh, I have to pick up. If you contaminate your mind with those kind of dirty thoughts when praying to God, that's not good. You should still have a purest form of God in your mind. You must continue to, you must ignore. So there's a lot of dust. Okay, there's a lot of dust. Don't just ignore. So be peaceful, be at peace. Similarly, when you're trying to sleep and meditating, somebody plays a big TV. And the TV is all junk things are coming in the TV, and you're able to hear that. So don't keep saying, oh man, this neighbor doesn't understand at all. He keeps on playing this stupid TV show, and then meditate. That's not going to help. You ignore that part. The part that you're devoting to God should be pure and of highest form. As long as you are sure of that, you can multitask. So when you're walking, you can meditate. When you're doing many things, you can meditate. When you're cleaning up, you can meditate. So that is how you become close to the God, and that is how you gain happiness. See, I know I have seen families when I was growing up. I have seen families where women used to be scolded upon, and I know one husband used to abuse his wife for very small things, and I could clearly hear that. But you look at that auntie, she was so much at peace. She never got perturbed, and she never showed the anger on others. She never felt bad. Why? Because she is able to ignore, like Buddha, right? Buddha said, I'm not going to take what you're giving me. So that is what we should practice. And that's how we will be happy. And so it goes both ways. Meditation helps you get to that stage, and that stage helps you meditate better. So it's like a vicious circle. So the moment you get into meditation, you will stop paying attention to nonsense. And you stop paying attention to nonsense, you are able to meditate better. So it's a vicious circle. right?
But then how do you start?
You have to start. That's it. You have to get the courage and start at some time.
But if it's a circle, that's not start.
You have to jump
It's
into
hard
it.
to start.
You have to jump into it. It's a tornado, right? You jump into it, and then that's it. Tornado is too violent a word, but it's like a ocean. You want to dip into. So you have to get into that vicious circle at some point of time. So another example is, so when there's a tornado, we talked about tornado. Suppose there's a tornado or a flood. What do?
We go into the basement.
You go into a basement, or you hold something which is very deeply rooted into the ground, right? So that you will not fly away with the...
A doorway.
Yeah, a doorway. Yeah. Oh, it said it's there in your book?
And then to earthquakes.
Yeah.
Those doorways are steady.
Yeah, you hold on to something that is steady and that can withstand the tornadoes. And so that's something in the world, in your life is God. So this world is like a flood or a tornado. The material things that are happening in the world are like a tornado. They pull you away. And they twist you and turn you and toss you, and they do all sorts of things, right? That's why you cry, you shout, you get mad, and you see some people, homeless people in BART stations and in railways and in VTA and all that. They talk to themselves. They become mad at sometimes, all by themselves. They're almost like insane people. They act like insane people. Why? Because the world is pulling them. The world is twisting them, turning them, tossing them, and they are not able to hold on to anything. They are getting tossed, they are getting twisted, they are getting thrown out because of the effects of the world. So that's why you need something to hold on to, and that something is the God. So like, you know the story of Markandeya, right? You know the story of Markandeya, who held on to Lord Shiva. So Markandeya's parents wanted a child. They did not have a child. He's a star, you know that, right? Markandeya Nakshatra.
Right?
Yeah. So Markandeya. I hope I'm right, but I can check. So this is coming up something else, but
The nakshatra.
anyway, the story of Markandeya, or whoever it is, I think it is Markandeya, but goes like this. His parents did not have children for a long time. So they did penance and they offered prayers and all that to God. And God finally comes in front of them and says, okay, I will grant you a child. But the child, the child could be someone who will live for a long time, but he will not be good.
Or someone who lives for a short time but has the right.
Yeah.
That's like the Greek person Achilles.
Yeah.
Because he was prophesied to either live a long life but unknown, or a short life but really well known.
Yeah. So yeah, these stories have migrated from culture to culture. So there will be a lot of similar stories. But So this Markandeya, so the parents,
But how can they make a real true story? How can they make a real true story like 2 times, happen 2 times?
no, just like language, and someone was creative enough to put their own people instead of the original people, right? You can make up a story like that, right? In machine learning, you can change the data set to come up with a new idea, right? Instead of applying to the data about students, you can apply the data to something else.
Teacher.
Maybe say teachers or football players or whoever. So change the data set, use everything same, and you get a new application. So same thing must have happened, or it could really be that that really happened. We don't know, but anyway, in our Sanatana Dharma, there is this story of Markandeya. So Markandeya's parents wanted a child who will live short, who has a short life, but will be a good person. So this Markandeya, I think it's maybe that's sage who witnessed it.
Was Markandeya
Anyway, oh yeah, this is the same thing. See, he is holding a linga, Shiva linga. Okay, yeah. So it's right. I'm right. This story my grandfather told me when I was like five years old or something. After that, I mean, sometimes it comes up, but anyway, see these stories and these concepts are so much ingrained into me. I mean, I really like them, right? So, so yeah, this Markandeya has only 16 years of life or something like that. So he is very good. He grows up to a very good boy and with all good qualities and all that. And come 16th year, the Yamadharmaraja, the god of death, comes to take him away, take his life away. So how does the Yamadharmaraja take life away? He throws his pasham, means a rope.
lasso?
Yeah, lasso, exactly. He throws a lasso at the person's life, Atma, and takes the Atma away with the lasso. So, so Markandeya was praying to Lord Shiva at that time. And Yama comes and he sees that this boy is praying to God. He's afraid. Man, he's praying to the Mrityunjaya, the god of God who has no death, who has defeated death. So I have to be careful. So he asks Markandeya, can you please come? It is time for you to leave this world. Markandeya ignores him. And then in a fit of anger, Yama spins his lasso and throws it at Markandeya. And Markandeya immediately holds Lord Shiva, the lingam. You saw that in the picture, right? So in the picture, you see here that Markandeya is holding on to Lord Shiva, lingam, right? See, this is Yamadharmaraja. And when he holds on to the lingam like that, this Yamadharmaraja's lasso goes round the lingam instead of the boy, and Lord Shiva becomes angry. He says, how dare you throw the lasso at me? I'm the Mrityunjaya. So that's why Yama is praying to Mrityunjaya. So that's why Markandeya is one of the Chiranjeevis. Okay, let us see if there's
Star?
Chiranjeevi. Yeah.
Oh,
see,
you mean the eternal people?
eternal people. There are 16.
Hanuman and
Yeah,
Ravana.
that's right. He is one of the Chiranjeevis. There is a temple for Chiranjeevis in Nepal. I told you, right?
Yeah.
So he's one of he's always living. He is always living. There's no death, right? So that is how we should be. We should hold on to God like that. Then even death cannot pull you away. Not just the world, but even the death cannot pull you away. If you hold on to God like that, right? So you have to hold it very strong. You should not leave it. You should not hold God, and then as soon as something happens, oh my God, I am pulling away. You should not divert your attention to that other thing, right? And you have to be constantly holding, because we don't know, right? Markandeya was, fortunately for Markandeya, he is a great sage himself. He could see Yama coming. But we cannot see Yama coming, right? So that's the reason why we should always hold on to God steadfast. See, one of my, I think I told you long time back also, one of my friend's fathers, he said that whenever he's driving his vehicle to office, or whenever he is on vehicle, he is constantly repeating God's name. I also do that. In fact, I used to actually close my eyes briefly, very briefly, when driving car. When I was going to office, I would look around. The road is straight and nobody's going to come. I used to quickly close and take a very short nap with thinking about God. So I used to do that when I was driving car, and I was safe. I mean, I did that for several years. No accident happened. But of course, you should not try that. I'm not telling you to try that, because it requires a lot of practice. I practiced doing that on treadmill. When I used to jog on treadmill, I used to close my eyes.
When did I fall off?
No. I was doing this in company gym, and the company management used to be scared. I mean, they also used to do the treadmill beside me, and they would say, no, don't do that, please, because they are liable, right, if I fall down. So they would say, no, don't do that. But I used to do the same. I used to close my eyes and do jogging. Close my eyes, meditate, and jog. So it needs a lot of practice. With practice, you can do lots and lots of things which are not easily possible, right? So that's the thing. So meditation is the most important mantra that we learn from this sloka. Anādi nidhanaṁ viṣṇuṁ. So you have to meditate upon God as one who does not have end or beginning or end, as one who is the leader of all worlds, as one who is constantly watching you, lokadhyaksham. Then, if you meditate and praise the God like that, sarva-dukkhaati go bhavet. All your sorrows will disappear into the thin air. That's what it means, right? So this is a very powerful sloka meaning, right? There's a very powerful meaning in this Vishnu Sahasranamam stotram. So this is not we are not yet in the stotram. This is still preface, but Bheeshma is saying a lot of good things also. Okay, with that, let us end our session for today with our prayer. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Sanmangalani Santu.